So if you're a fan of orcish engineering and your idea of a lance is duct taping a slightly pokey thing at the end of a cannon, well, Gunlance is for you. In this quick start guide, we're going to cover the very basics, as if you'd never picked up this weapon before, but we're not going to waste your time with going through every single iteration of the combos that you can do. Focus on the few that you're going to be using 80+% of the time to get the best results. Talk about a few more nuanced tips that I've picked up as I've been playing. And we'll take a quick look at a progression from low rank into high rank, and go through a couple builds I've put together for Endgame. So right off the hop here, if you look at the gauges underneath the sharpness in the top left, you'll see 3 separate ones. First, on the far left, will be your charges for Wyvern's Fire, which is to be thought of kind of like an ultimate ability. You'll spam those out when you have significant openings in the monster or after specific attacks to reduce the cast time. Next to that, you have your Wormstake gauge. This is a simple on or off, and to the right of that, you'll see 3 shells. Depending upon the type of Gunlance you're using, the number here will be different, especially so if you have specific decorations that give you additional shells. Those shells can be spent by tapping B, by holding B, or by working into your larger, most damaging combos. To reload, either the Wormstake or the shells, or both, hit guard and B. Congratulations. Basics. Unlike several of the other weapons we've tried in Wild so far, the list of combos on the bottom left of the screen in the training room are actually, well, 2 out of the 3 are useful. Wormstake Cannon combo, for the amount of time it takes for the attack to go off, you have better options, but the Wormstake Full Blast and the Burst Fire combos are going to be some of your best friends. So starting with the Burst Fire combo, we've got Y and B, into Y, into B, which will expend all of your shells all at once. Then you can recharge. So that's particularly useful for when you have small damage windows to work with. So Rising Slash, into Overhead Smash, into Burst. Done. Outside of Wyvern's Fire, your most damaging combo is going to be the Wormstake Full Blast. So one of the ways you can enter it is, as it says on the bottom left here. So shelling into a moving wide sweep, into Full Blast, and while that animation is going, you're hitting Y or B to repeat that entire damaging process. So even on the training dummy with it missing a good chunk of the hitboxes here, that one combo did almost 2,900 damage. As I'd mentioned a moment ago, that's only one of the ways to enter the Full Blast combo. Really, what you're looking for is getting to some point in your attack chain where you do the wide sweep. Anytime you have a wide sweep, you can go ahead and hit Y and B to enter the full combo. So, as we just saw here, 1, 2, 3 Ys, and then you can lead in. Generally, that takes excessively long. However, it does preserve all 3 shells for use during the full blast. Whereas if you look at the combo on the bottom left here, you are spending a shell to get to the moving wide sweep. That said, the time savings in the combo plus the extra distance you can cover, I'm willing to spend one of my shells to get into the combo. Your mileage may vary. Movement works very similarly to the Charge Blade, where out of focus mode, moving your left stick will turn you. Inside focus mode, congratulations, you are now strafing. Now you wouldn't think so based on the walk speed of Gunlance, but you do have quite a bit of mobility baked into the kit. So your initial pokes, you can go into the lunging up thrust, which covers quite a bit of distance. Even your side pokes give you a little bit of a sidestep. Sometimes that's just enough to have the monster miss you. And you can even fade slightly back. If you're looking to cover the absolute most distance you can here, you can hop into the lunging, into the shelling, into the sweep, into the full blast. And sure, you're going to miss out on some of the damage from the sweep, but we were all the way over there on that rock. And that is an impressive amount of distance that you can cover that quickly. Your standard side hops are tolerable. They're snappy. It's nice. If you want a little bit more wiggle room, you can always slot something like Evade Extender. Of particular note here is the back hop. So if we're spamming the back hop, we'll do a far one, then a short one, far one, short one. However, if you hit the back hop, pause very briefly for your character's animation to settle, and then back hop again, you can skip that second short hop. That looks like this. So, a little bit of patience in between button presses gives you much more distance. All right, talking about Wyvern's Fire now. Usually, if you just fire it off of nothing, it's going to take a little bit of time to charge. So that looks like this. So, I mean, it's not a silly long time, but that's a lot of time to have something with sharp teeth try to take a bite out of you. However, you can slow that charge time down fairly significantly by coming out of a perfect guard into it much faster. Or what you can do is follow up your full blast combo with the Wyvern's Fire, which will also fire off significantly faster. If you were to spend both of them sequentially, the first one will come out in whatever speed you're in, either doing that from true neutral or after a guard or a blast, and then the subsequent Wyvern's Fire will also come out significantly faster. If you're looking to recharge your Wyvern's Fire, that comes from shelling their target. So with my particular build here, 2 charged bursts will completely refill 1 charge of Wyvern's Fire and get me into the next one. So it's not quite enough to get both charges back off of 3 casts, but it's pretty snappy. All right, so quick thing with the Focus Strike. I really did not like this iteration of the Focus Strike the first time I was using it. Nifty thing about it, though, unlike many of the other weapons, the Focus Strike has different amounts of distance you can cover with it, and it pops wounds at any point in time during the animation. So rather than needing to aim perfectly for the wound, you can do something like this. And since you can move your reticle in focus mode during your focus strike, you're much, much more likely to fish your way over to a wound on a monster that's flailing all around your screen. Enjoy that. Now, if you tap or hold focus strike without going for a direction, you're just going to stand there. Now, if you hold forward, you'll lunge forward a bit. So, between that and being able to move your focus reticle around during the animation, it's much easier to hit focus strikes than with some of the other weapons. Right, last real quick tip here. On your reload, you have guard points. So, take a look at my shield here. At the beginning of the animation, you can see it flashes white. That counts as though you're guarding if the monster would hit you during that portion of the animation. So, if you were particularly savvy with your reload timings, you can use that as a perfect guard and then bounce right into something like a much, much shorter Wyvern's Fire. Have fun with that. On a similar note, while you're charging your shells, you are guarding. So check this out. That's nice. Whereas if I just stand there, obviously I'm going to get hit in the face. But once again, just to illustrate it, we come up here and start charging our shells. Don't care. Yeah, you'll still take chip damage, but depending upon your points in guard and guard up, you can stand there and tank it and then deposit 3 explosive loads into whatever part of the monster just hit you. Okay, so let's take a look at weapon progression here through low rank. In general, for the state of the game right now, I imagine this is going to change as we get title updates and an eventual DLC. If you look at the far right of the equipment info, you can see a shelling type and power. For the time being, the end game for Gunlance is this one, the G Lawful Bores, with wide shelling type and slightly strong power. So if we're going to look to stick to this archetype of wide and slightly strong. As soon as you have access to the Camatries tree, yes, it's normal shelling type, however, it does still retain the slightly strong. Realistically, as soon as you can craft this and just keep working your way up the tree, that'll carry you into high rank and a little bit beyond. After that, you really just want to beeline your way down the Arkfeld tree to get to the G lawful boars. Once you get there, congratulations, you've won. This is one of the rare times in game that the Ardean weapons don't actually match up or exceed any of the monster craftables. So enjoy not having a weird clockwork thing, because some of them are really cool. Like, I really like how the charge blade looks. Dual blades, though, I don't know what's up with those. Okay, in terms of armor progression, really in the beginning of low rank, it's not particularly important. You can get pretty far with the Hope set. As soon as you get to Oda Garen, I would recommend crafting at least a few of those so that you can get some points in burst and, you know, a reasonable upgrade to armor, and as well as pick up the burst boost. So in terms of endgame sets, I've got two different ones for you. First, we have the effectively immortal Guardian Arkfeld set for the Gunlance. Yeah, it's not going to do as much damage as everything else, and Flare, while it's not bugged, is kind of a waste of space. But the healing you get from popping wounds with the Guardian Arkfeld set, paired with Recovery Up and Divine Blessing, makes it effectively impossible for you to lose. So go ahead and pause the video here to take a look at the armor on the left. And here we have the decos. So go ahead and pause here if you want a full list without going through the explanation of each. If we look at the total active skills, we're picking up 3 points in artillery, which is mandatory if you're going to use Gunlance. We've maxed out guard, maxed out load shells, which gives us an extra shell to play with, and in the case of the wide that we're using, that's 50% more booms. Burst, because burst is silly. Flare is on the armor, whatever, I'm not going to be mad about it. Counterstrike is nice because if you're using this set, chances are you need the help staying alive, which means you're getting hit. Counterstrike gives you a flat buff every time you get hit. So attack plus 25 for an entire minute every time you get hit. Enjoy that. Divine Blessing is dumb. Might as well take it. Recovery Up greatly increases the amount of healing you get from popping a wound. 2 points of Wex. Sure, I mean, this isn't super great for Gunlance because it doesn't impact your shelling. However, this does counteract the -10 affinity you get on the Gunlance itself. So your pokes and whatnot don't suffer that -10 affinity. I'm not mad it's here, but it's not a priority. Extra evade window, just because more iframes on your dodges are nice. And point in Park Breaker, and 2 points in Blight Resistance. So, like I said, you're not going to be setting any new speedrunning records with this, but you're functionally immortal. So the other set does significantly more damage, has a little bit less quality of life built in. So if we look at this set here, same Gunlance, we're using 2 pieces of the Guardian Ebony Beta, the Arc Vulcan Male Beta, and the Dahad Gloves and Boots Beta, along with that same Chain Charm. So decos here are going to look like this. You know, your same artillery, magazine, iron wall, and shield. You know, that will give you maxed artillery, maxed guard, 2 ranks of load shells, and 1 point of guard up, which really helps in blocking things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, and reduces the damage you take a little bit. It's nice. We have the same points in Counterstrike, because again, you're going to get hit. Let's just be real. You're going to get hit playing this game. You might as well get a minute-long 25 attack boost. Throwing in some Challenger Jewels to finish maxing out Agitator, since monsters usually spend around half of the time you're fighting them enraged. That is going to give you a pretty significant buff to your damage. 1 point in Protection, just because I like having at least 1 point of Divine Blessing in my build. If I was playing in multiplayer, I'd probably swap this one out for Shockproof, because nobody likes to play with the person who continues to flinch everybody else in the team all the time. Don't be that guy. And this last one is really up to you. I have jumping in there for evade extender. You could run part breaker. You could run evade window. You could run earplugs. Try them all out. See which one you prefer. And then this last one is really just something I was tinkering with. I don't think it's particularly viable, but maybe you're smarter than me and can figure something out here. This is your standard weakness exploit burst gore set. So again, weakness exploit doesn't affect your shelling, but the rest of your pokes and your focus attacks and your worm stake, it definitely does that. And since those are going to be going into weak points anyway, that's a lot of crits happening on the screen. You know, like maybe you could drop 2 of the weakness exploit jewels out and come up with something more effective to put in those spots. I don't really like this one. I don't think it's the most effective way you can play, but have fun tinkering with it if you want. And just for the sake of completion here, let me go ahead and show you the decos that are in this. And you can go ahead and pause here just to get the full look. All right, so why don't we go say hi to my nemesis, the Tempered Deshagama. Because no matter how many times I fight this thing, I only get incrementally better at reading it. So, let's see if we can do this live, yeah? Starting off with the mount. I'm here. Don't mind me, just completely screwing up the rhythm on that mount. It'll be fine, though. All right. Let's just get this party started. Reload our stuff. Shell. Sweep. Into the full blast. And rinse and repeat. And as long as he's going to give us a damage window to do that, I see no reason to stop. Make use of some guard points here. And then see if we can manage to not get absolutely plastered by this guy. Oh yes, I will take a free power clash. Thank you. You want to give us that wound? Yeah, you do. All right, into the sweep. All right, he hit us. I don't care. He just gave us a buff. Our Palico's probably going to heal us anyway. Now he's enraged, so now we have even more of a buff, provided we don't get one shot. See if we can get... There we go. Pop some wounds for a little bit of breathing room. And we just go back into the combo. So with almost any other weapon, I would have completely whiffed that focus strike. But again, with how long the focus strike lasts, you can really fish around. Well, apparently he has had enough of our shit. How you doing? Oh. So you remember what I was saying about having trouble reading this guy? I think I've illustrated that pretty well. Why don't we play it safe here for a sec? Hey, Sacred, where are you at, buddy? Thank you. I mean, sure, we could have pushed forward there and probably have been fine, but I don't want to restart recording this in the event that he decided to one-shot us. Go ahead and reload our stuff and see if we can get back in the combo. One of the downsides I'm finding with Gunlance, though, is the oppressive lack of sharpness. But that's easy enough to hop in your Sacred, get a quick combat, resharpen, or just resharpen as you're moving on to the next stage of the fight. Had I been a little bit more proactive with flash pods, we probably would have dropped him as he was running away. Alright, so we're just going to lead off directly into our combo here to not overthink things, which I am usually particularly guilty of, and he was basically dead anyway. So even with some pretty mediocre play, 548, that could have been significantly shorter, I'm not going to be mad about that. So there you go. There's Gunlance. So go ahead and grab your closest large explodey thing and strap something spiky to the end of it. And go introduce the business end to something big and mean. I've been Bald Squid. See y'all next time.